Sorry guys for the background noise, but my wash machine's going. Anyways, this here is a bolt for my body mount. This is a little nutsert that's captured into the body. Bolt comes up through the bottom. Well, the bolt is no more. And struggling to get it out. Let me show you a tip. You see how rusty that is? Oh. It ain't stuck if it's liquid. Right now we're going to heat up the bolt and the nut. I'm also going to be taking a lot of the scale out of the thread. Sitting there for years. What we're going to do is we're going to shock it. Up. We're going to shock it. What I like to use is a little bit of candle wax. A little cheap candle. What I'll do is I put it in there, let it get up in the threads. This stuff here works a lot better than like penetrating oil, because the penetrating oil right now would just flare up and would evaporate. Wouldn't really do anything. What we're doing right now is we're just letting it get down into those threads. Okay. All I'm going to do is I'm going to flip it over, because right now it's just sitting there. Flip it upside down. Put it in my vise. I'm going to clamp the nut. Okay. You can see a little bit of rust in the bottom. A lot of garbage in there too. So what we'll do is we're going to heat that up as well. So we got it real hot. Wax, kind of cool it down. Put it through another heat cycle. This time we're going to do the bottom. Nice and tight. I'm going to focus more of my heat this time on the nut, not so much the bolt. Get it out of the way before it cools down completely. This could get a little interesting, because the wax will sit there, and sometimes if it's hot enough, it might flare up a little bit. But the wax is getting down in there. Careful not to get some on your hands, because it doesn't feel so good. Getting the wax down in the threads. Now, we start working the bolt. Doesn't always work the first try. Might have to do a couple of heat cycles. That might be what I gotta do. Also, if I want to get more leverage, another trick I can do is I'll put a little bit of a bend into the bolt. Try to look for more leverage, which requires, I'll do. Now that the nut is starting to cool a little bit, I'll warm the bolt up, put a little bit of a bend in it. Good. nut up again. Again, all we're doing is putting it through some heat cycles. My intention is to save that nut, so I don't really want it to be damaged. I'm not going to super heat up. A little more wax in there. Let me show you the difference, what happens with penetrating oil. This is what happens with penetrating oil. It just puts out a lot of smoke that actually, who knows what that's doing for you. But it's just evaporating immediately. The wax will stay there and gets into the threads. And the heat will draw it in there. You see my whole vise right now is wet from the wax. And then like the penetrating oil, it'll stay there. So now, let that cool a little bit. Give it a try. Not quite. Might have to do a couple heat cycles just like I just did. I will allow that to cool. We'll come back and we'll do it again. See if we can get that bolt out of there. All that wax freed up all the schmutz inside there. Just scraping that out of there. What I do is I get a little bit better access to the threads. Put a little more wax in there. Doesn't take a lot of heat for the wax to go in there, but you can see it's all sitting in there sizzling, working its way down to the threads. More leverage. There it goes. It's turning. What I like to do now is I will turn it back and forth a little bit. So like I said, I want to try to save that nut. So I'll turn it back and forth. Let this stuff get down inside the threads. Use a little more wax. These candles are cheap. All right, out now. A couple heat cycles. Let everything cool and contract. And there we go. We are in business. There it is. Threads look like they're still okay. I'll do that, let that cool. I'll clean up and I'll throw a chase tap through it.